Hey everyone, Justin here, and today I want to share a quick update on the Myfrenchy Color Calculator app that I was talking about earlier this year. So I've since moved it online so anybody can access it through a web browser by going to the website and just punching in the genetics on the form, and it'll give you some pretty cool calculations and results. So let's jump in and I'll show you what it's all about. So we'll head on over to breedstream.com and we'll click the DNA calculator button. And you can see we've got a form to put in the genetics for the male and the female. Now, if you need help interpreting your DNA test, because all of the companies report it a little bit differently, I've tried to put some information in below that can help you sort it and into a way that you can input into this calculator. Now, the dogs that we're going to be simulating is an actual breeding that just took place between James Crouch's Keystone, which is a lilac and tan, which carries one copy of Fluffy, and a copy of Cream as well. So we'll put his genetics in with our girl Hazel, who is a visual cocoa that carries one copy of Dilute or Blue. So we'll start off with Keystone here. So on the A locus, Keystone is ATAT. He carries two copies of Tan Points. He's KYKY, so we're gonna leave that alone. He has two recessive copies of Cocoa, so little CO, and same with Dilute, two recessive copies, so little d. On the E locus, he has one recessive copy of Cream and one copy of Mask, and he has one copy of the long hair Fluffy. For Hazel, we're going to put in AYAT, so she's got one copy of Fawn, one copy of Tan, and she has one copy of KBR Brindle, two copies of Cocoa, so little CO, and just the one copy of Dilute. So big D, little d for that. And that's it. We're going to hit calculate now and we'll see what we get. So the first table that we're going to have is a breakdown of all of the different alleles and the odds that they're going to have either one copy or two copies, because some genes such as Chocolate Cocoa Dilute, they would require two copies to be present, where other ones such as Brindle will only require one. So it's good to know how many copies you're projecting. It takes this table then and it gives you some color projections below. So our projections for this litter are going to be 12.5% Fawn, 43.75% Lilac, and 43.75% Cocoa. And then it breaks down even further into Tan, Trindle, Brindle, or any other attributes such as Merle or long hair intensity that your dogs may be carrying. You will notice a few things on the Fawn. You'll see, for instance, where Fawn, generally one copy of AY is going to create a Fawn dog. So even though 50% are going to have that gene, it takes into account the presence of Brindle at 50% and the likelihood that 50% of the dogs are going to be AT, and it will give you a visual Fawn projection of 12.5 rather than 50%. So it accounts for a lot of other things that are going to affect the look of your litter, and it tries to break it down as simple and easy as possible. Now we'll go back and we'll spice things up a bit just to give you guys a look at maybe a more complicated projection, because sometimes you get dogs that carry all kinds of different recessive genes. So what I've just done was added a copy of Brown and two copies of Cream to Hazel. We're going to add one copy of Brown to Keystone, and you know what, we're going to add one copy of Long Hair as well to Hazel. And then we'll hit calculate again and we'll see what that looks like. So you can see we've got a lot more colors that we're projecting here, and since there are a lot of recessive genes at work here, the percentage is pretty low on some of them. So Platinum New Shade, for instance, would be 6.25%. Same with the Fawn. The Fawn actually went down because now we've also have the presence of two copies of Cream. So anytime that you have two copies of Cream, you're not going to see the visual Fawn coming through. So the color projections reflect that as well now. We've got the highest percentage is going to be 17.48 as a Cream, or sorry, actually 23.31 for a Lilac, and then a Cream and Cocoa, and then a New Shade Platinum Lilac. So you can see all of the different chances that you're going to have, and hopefully it gives you kind of a more realistic look at what your litter may actually look like. The other app we're going to look at is the Myfrenchy Color App. So we'll hit that button at the top and we can put in the genetics. We'll put in the genetics of Hazel, and this is going to identify what these genetics translate to in terms of the appearance of the dog. So put KB, KY, CO, and big D, little d. So that was Hazel's genetics that we put into the calculator earlier with Keystone. We'll hit calculate, and it will tell us that she is a chocolate brindle. It will give you a very basic visual representation, and it will give you some information on the genetics and the likelihood that she's going to pass off any of these genes in future litters. So that's it. Hopefully you guys found that pretty easy to use, and if you have any comments, suggestions on how I can simplify it even further, because I want this to be very easy to use, reach out to me through Instagram directly at Bluefrenchables. No E in blue is the tag. I'll put a link in the description so you can find that a bit easier. You can leave a comment in the YouTube page. I try to get to them all, but in case you're looking at this on some other Facebook page or something, that's the best way to reach me. And stay tuned for more videos. We've got this exact projection we just did with Hazel and Keystone is due on June 18th. So we'll see how that shapes up compared to our projections. However, the ultrasound did indicate that we're only expecting a singleton. I'm hoping there's some pups hidden away that the ultrasound didn't see, because they're not always the best at predicting the size of the litter, just confirming a pregnancy. But we'll see how that goes. We'll share lots of video along the way on that, and lots of other great videos to come. So thanks for checking this out, and we will see you real soon.